welcome back to the channel. Did any of you guys ever have one of those moments, from when you were a child, when you either had a toy or saw a movie or played a video game, but you only had it for a brief period of time, or you only played with it one time, or saw the movie one time, or played the game one time, and then like several years later you can't for the life of you remember what it was, or you have the memory in your head but you have no idea what it came from? Well, I definitely did, and my memory is with the Sega Pico.
A child's mind is like a sponge, absorbing everything.
Middle-aged men who want to be teenage girls next.
So make it the right things with Pico. It turns TV into your kid's first computer and turns on the power of their imaginations. With Storybook software, turn the page and images come alive on TV. Kids learn numbers, music, reading,
D-O-G, dog,
and more. Most kids spend 3 hours a day glued to TV. Pico makes it a smart 3 hours.
I can remember going to a Kmart when I was, probably 5, 6, 7, so, it was like early 90s, maybe like 95, 96, maybe mid-90s, yeah, I'm sorry. But I remember we were shopping, because my mom went in there quite often, and I can just remember going to the register on the way out, and they had this kiosk, and I saw this little kid playing this game on this weird little blue, like, what I thought was like a blue-looking, I never saw a laptop yet, but I saw, there was this weird little blue-looking, like, I don't even know, just this little pad type thing. I was used to the VTEX, because I had a VTEC back then. You remember the VTEX, the little learning tool type things with the little, like, educational games and stuff, whatnot. But I had never seen this thing before, and I was watching this kid play this game, and it had a touchpad, and it had a cigar-shaped, like, stylus, and all this stuff, and buttons on it, and it took a cartridge in the back slot, and it had pages like a book, and I was like, what is this black magic?
I just shipped my drawers.
So I'm sitting there watching him, and on the screen he's playing a game from that show, if you guys remember, The Busy World of Richard Scarry. When all the animals and the little bookworm in the car, like, live all in this township and stuff. But, yeah. So I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, just, wow, what is this thing? So fast forward a couple years into the future, when probably about, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, I'm sitting at a Goodwill, just shopping around for video games, whatever, like toys, whatever, I'm a collector, obviously you guys can all see, I collect many things. So anyway, I'm sitting there, and on the shelf down towards like where the glassware was, of all places, is this weird looking blue shaped thing again. I'm like, my spidey senses started to tingle, and I'm like, man, I really, really know exactly what that is, but I just cannot wrap my brain around it. So I picked this thing up, and I'm checking it out, and, I'm seeing the buttons, I'm seeing the cigar stylus, I'm seeing, like, where the cartridge was. Inside of it was a game. I think it was, like, the Sesame Street game that I actually own now. But, yeah, I'm just seeing this thing, and it was all coming back to me. It's like, I knew what this thing was. And I'm checking it out, and I noticed that it says Sega, and I'm like, holy crap, this is a Sega item. And then, I saw, obviously, on the front title, it said Pico. So, automatically, I had to pick this thing up. It had a price tag of $1.25 on it. Why? I have no idea. Why it was in the glassware section, once again, I had no idea. I checked all around the store, because I was like, well, if they have this thing, maybe they have something else. Maybe I'll score big. I didn't really score big. I did find another loose cartridge for it, but they had it at the counter, and I think they had it for like $2.99, like any game price in my area anyway, at a Goodwill. But I bought it, and I think that was the crayon game, if I remember. Don't hold me to it. But I do have that one too. But yeah, so I saw this thing, and man, it brought back so many memories, and I didn't really know a whole lot about it, so I looked it up, and obviously it was like, a educational interactive thing that Sega had put out in the early to mid-90s. I know some of these games were made in 93 till like 98, 99, I think, if I remember right. So like they actually lasted quite a bit, but I didn't know anybody, friends. I didn't know family members. I didn't know anyone that had one of these things. I had only saw it that one shopping trip, and then when we went again, it was nowhere to be found. Like, I have no idea what was up. But since then, I actually had picked up some games for it, and I'll show you some of those games. one of the ones that I mentioned that I had found while in the Goodwill was the Alphabet Adventure. And it's really weird because, like, these cartridges, like, it's just like a cartridge, like how the Genesis or, like, the Nintendo and stuff would have been. And it fits into the thing. But, like, the pages, you know, are like a book. So, kind of wonky. Not really sure. And, like, the stylus, you know, you, like, have different objectives and stuff that you got to do, and it becomes interactive on your screen. But we'll get into that in a minute. But the next game here that I found at the Goodwill, I think this is the one that was actually on the shelf. I think the Sesame Street was the one that was in the actual system. And then the Magic Crayon one was actually the one that I paid the $2.99 for that was at the counter, which was really awesome. So I actually had went to, I don't want to mess up the name, it was a convention in Pittsburgh. I know there's several. I think it was the, let me see, yeah, I got the flyer still. It's the Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Convention. And I think that was in 2018, because it was the same year that I went to Too Many Games. So I had found these games with a vendor that had them, and I was like, you know, I had the Pico, so they were complete in box, and I was like, you know, a couple bucks, whatever, you know. And the first one was the Pocahontas Riverbend Adventures, so it's really awesome. Like, they have like really tall boxes too. Like, it's actually kind of cool. Like, but they're not very well displayed. But yeah, they're like big, almost big box PC, and maybe a little bit bigger than some of the big box PC games. Taller anyway. Another one I got when I was at the con was Mickey's Blast into the Past. Another one was A Year at Pooh Corner, which was actually pretty cool. And the last one that I had got there, and the final game that I have in the collection as of right now, was Tails and the Music Maker, which this one out of all of them is actually the best. Has a lot of, you know, they're basically mini games and like learning adventure type crap, you know. But you know, it's still a fun time. So yeah, let's check out the overview of what the console is and what it does. And after that, I'll show you some games.
Follow me. Select a level. Easy. Click on the book page. Pick a game. Select a game. Very good.
So there you have it, guys. Let me know down in the comments, what's your opinion on the Sega Pico? It's a pretty weird and, like, for me, nostalgic piece of Sega history, to be honest with you. But I appreciate you watching. I'm Scott from Sega Blocks. Stay awesome.